Today, we're going to talk about a pest. And the type of pest we're going to analyze is fascinating in how this species embraces social structure, works tirelessly, and exhibits an interesting element of mystery with interactions and organization. Some are foragers, some are soldiers, some are caretakers. And if you know pests, by now you might know what we're talking about. To discuss this topic today and dig into this particular pest, I'm pleased to welcome Rob Fernback with Complete Pest Solutions. Rob, welcome to the program.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me back. Excited to talk
Absolutely.
about today's pest.
Today's pest is what?
We are talking about ants, Jeff.
Ants are interesting. People even have them in their home in little aquariums, an ant farm, I think they call them, so they can watch
Yep,
them
ant
because they're
farms. I had one when I was a kid.
ah, they're
Little did
interesting.
I know I'd be in the pest control industry later on.
I think we like our insects and bugs where they belong. To me, it's outside.
Leave them outside.
Leave them outside. Ants do get inside. Those watching this program today are interested, maybe ants that can get into a home or a commercial building. Rob, why don't you take over and tell us how many types of ants there are? Which one should we be concerned with? What do we need to know?
All right, so how many different types of ants? There are actually over 12,000 different species of ants. The most concern we should have are with carpenter ants. Being in the US, carpenter ants are the main concern because they are a wood destroying insect. WDI is what we call it in the industry. They will eat through the wood in your home, tear apart the structure. They'll nest within your home. They will cause the most damage for homes and businesses, and you will be paying quite a bit of money on the repair. So I would say the most concern would be with carpenter ants. There are other ants throughout the world that carry disease. One bite will kill you, but we don't really have to worry about those ones because of our climate. So I'd say carpenter ants would be that main concern.
One bite will kill you. Thanks a lot for that moment in
I'll
time
leave you
there.
on a cliffhanger there.
I'm sure,
Um,
yeah, in the United States, I know I've had carpenter ants, but I'm glad those deadly ones are nowhere near us. But for those people that live in those areas, I'm sure they have a strategy to be safe. That's important.
oh yes, absolutely.
Um, why don't you share some interesting facts about ants that we might not know about?
All right, so ants are as old as dinosaurs. I thought that was pretty interesting. They are super strong. They can lift up from 20 to 100 times their actual body weight over their head. They communicate by smell, which it's not like a good smell or bad smell. They do it by pheromones. So they communicate by pheromones to understand each other. And I thought this was pretty interesting. If they lose their pheromone trace, an ant will roam around in a circle until it dies. It will be completely lost. So that I thought was the most interesting thing because we lose our smell, we still have our eyesight, our hearing. They pretty much rely on scent, and if they take that away, they'll literally just roam aimlessly in a circle and then perish. There are different kinds of ants that have different kinds of jobs. You mentioned earlier some are foragers, some are soldiers, some are caretakers. You have worker ants and you have scout ants. So what scout ants do, they are pretty much on the hunt for food. They are looking for food. They're looking for any traces of food. And then the worker ant comes in, picks up the trace of that scout ant, their trace scent. They find the food, and then they will transport it back to their nest, or their hill, or whatever you want to call it. So I think overall, communicating by smell and tracking their food source and communicating by smell through tracking that scout ant. I thought that was pretty interesting. There's some other interesting facts, such as they're blind, they can't see, so they obviously only have to use that smell for communication. One of the interesting things I found out about ants is male ants only exist to mate. So they're an organism that is asexual. They can produce male reproductive organs in order to mate with female ants. So I think that pretty much sums up the interesting things about ants that we would want to discuss right now.
Rob, I think of pests that get into a home or a commercial building. We might panic when we see some of them, like a cockroach, because we talked about cockroaches. You see one, could be many more of them. Ants aren't a big panic to me, but they are a concern. What can they do when they get into a building? What kind of damage can they cause?
So no, you are correct. People freak out over things like roaches or bed bugs. But ants, they kind of fly under the radar when people think about um, extreme measures. But ants are known to cause structural damage in homes. For example, I already spoke about carpenter ants are the most likely culprit for structural damage. They tunnel through the wood in your home or your business, weakening that structural integrity. Over time, your floors could start sagging, your roof could even collapse. But just your basic ants, they're attracted to warmth, and they're attracted to water, and they're attracted to food. So what do homes carry? And even property management buildings and where people live, or your office where there's a kitchen or cafeteria in most offices, they're attracted to the heat, the food, the water. Um, they live in, they will sometimes nest in your electrical outlets, causing electrical damage, um, causing electrical shorts, which could even lead to a fire in your building. Um, Obviously, contamination. There's an ant called a pharaoh ant that is notorious for spreading diseases and contaminating your food. They're attracted to wet, moist environment. Um, they're often found in restrooms, kitchens, any areas where there's a water source and a food source, really. And then you have the aesthetic damage. Who wants to walk into your home or business and see a bunch of ants crawling around? Not me. When I see ants crawling in a place, I automatically think, what? Well, these people are dirty. That aesthetic damage alone could cause me not to eat at a restaurant or not to move into a certain apartment complex. You know what I mean? So I'd say structural, electrical, disease and food contaminating, and then overall that aesthetic damage that just come with having ants in your vicinity make it difficult to want to hang out in that one place.
And I think ants are like people. We like warmth and food, and we're
Exactly.
just
Why wouldn't they want to hang with us?
looking to survive.
You
You've
got
talked
it.
about health hazards and concerns with ants there. I think to wrap up, why don't you talk about what's a typical plan to eradicate them from a home or an office?
Okay. Well, keep your home or office clean. They're attracted to food. It's essential to keep your home clean and in your office kitchen clean of crumbs and spills. This means regularly sweeping and mopping your floors, wiping down countertops, desktops, um, uh, storing food in airtight containers. You go around the building, seal off any entry points where ants can enter your home or office. The tiniest little cracks and crevices, you can seal any points around your windows or doors, even your pipes to prevent them from getting in. If you have landscaping around your home or office, which most do, trim your trees, trim your shrubs. Carpenter ants are attracted to damp wood, so keeping trees and shrubs trimmed in the back of your home or business, it's essential. It'll prevent moisture from building up and attracting carpenter ants. Repairing any leaks. in your pipes. Again, moisture, it's attracting ants. Uh, Make sure that leak in the pipe or faucet is um, repaired, and then ultimately call a professional. You know, pest control professionals are licensed and equipped to handle these sort of things. They have products and services that you wouldn't know where to start. You can't even buy the products that we use because you need to have a pest control applicator's license to buy it. So, uh, the few things you can do: keep your home clean. You can do some basic seal up, basic landscaping, but ultimately call your pest control professional.
Obviously, all good advice that apply not just to a home, but a business as well, a commercial building. Just more to do, the bigger the building.